everyone, my name is Jen, and I have a giant unhaul for you today. So I was just looking at my shelves the other day, and I decided to clean out some of the books that I just wasn't really interested in anymore, and I didn't think I was ever going to get around to reading because there's other stuff I would rather read at this point, and also some of the books that I have read that I may have liked, but I wasn't going to reread them more than likely, and then some of them I'm getting rid of because I did read them and I hated them. So I have a ton of books here. I have two giant like reusable grocery bags full of books. Some of these might be a little controversial, so let's get into it. So the first one is one of the more controversial ones, and like this is the one that I was probably the about wanting to unhaul, but that is the Harry Potter Illustrated Edition books. I have 1 through 4, and I'm not gonna hold these up the whole time. They're super loud. Because I read these when I was younger, when they were coming out, and I still have the original copies that I read as a kid, and I would rather have those. They have more sentimental value than these do, and I just was like, I'm just probably never going to read these. I feel like if I'm going to ever reread that series, then I'm going to probably want to read the other ones. And maybe when they're all out, maybe I'll feel differently. But for right now, I feel pretty good about unhauling those. Okay, the next one I have is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I did read this one. I was extremely disappointed with it. This was the first book by Ruth Ware that I had read. I did not like it. It was okay in the beginning, but about halfway through, I just kind of stopped caring, and then once I finished it, I didn't like the ending either, and the twist. I wasn't into it, which was really disappointing because a lot of people have said this is their favorite of hers, so I'm probably not picking up any more Ruth Ware. The next one that I have is The Firemen by Joe Hill. I have read a few books by Joe Hill, and I have really enjoyed them, but I just don't see myself getting to this one anytime soon. Even the concept, I'm not really interested in it terribly, so yeah, I'm just getting rid of that one. The next one is If It Bleeds by Stephen King. I picked this up when it came out just like a month or so ago. And I read the first story and possibly the second story in it. And I just read the first one, Mr. Harrington's Phone. And I was super not into it. It was really long and I was really bored the whole time. And I wanted something like spicier to happen. Like, I don't know. I wanted it to be more gritty and horror-y, I guess. And I just wasn't into it, and I've kind of found a lot of the time I'm not into his short stories, so I didn't really want to waste my time reading any more of it. Maybe I'll try it on audiobook from my library eventually, but I didn't really care if it stayed on my shelf. The next one I have is Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. This one was really hyped up on BookTube when it came out. I was just kind of following the hype, and I did think the cover was pretty cool. I never read it. I didn't care, and I have completely lost interest in it now. And it's a really nice hardcover. It is very pretty, but I am going to unhaul it. The next few I'm getting rid of, I picked up because I had gotten on a little paperbacks from Hell kick, which I hadn't actually read any paperbacks from Hell, but I had read Grady Hendrix's book All About It. Or All About Them, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to buy all of these, and so I have The Unloved, Second Child, Cry for the Strangers, and Punish the Sinner, all by John Saul. The covers are kind of cool and kind of creepy, but honestly, I just eventually realized I had bought a bunch of books that I hadn't even read the synopsis on, and I didn't even know if I was interested in it, and honestly, I just have so much more stuff that I am more interested in reading at this point, so I am going to unhaul those as well. The next one I am getting rid of is 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. I did read this one. I think I gave it 3 stars. I really enjoyed like the beginning parts of it, and then I really enjoyed the malfunctioning AI parts of it. The ending, I think I'm too dumb to understand. The ending was really strange for me. I haven't seen the movie, but I do plan on watching it eventually because I like watching the movies after I read the book, but this one I just wasn't wild about, and I'd just rather have more room on my shelves for it. The next one is Elevation by Stephen King. This is a little novella he wrote a year or so ago. I did read it. I think I might have given it 2 stars. I found it to be super boring, and I just wasn't a big fan of it. It was definitely wasn't horror either. The next one I have is Swan Song by Robert McCammon. I tried to read this as soon as lockdown started for me last year, and I just couldn't get into it. I thought that since I was going to be in lockdown for a while, I could get through this giant book, but it just wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't that it bothered me that it's about an apocalypse and I think a disease, but I don't know. Maybe I'll keep this one. This one actually I might keep because I do think I might get to it eventually. Let me know down in the comments if you think I should give this one another try. Maybe it just wasn't the right time. The next one that I am getting rid of is The Colorado Kid by Stephen King, and I have not read this yet, but I realized that as I was looking at my shelves, I had 2 copies of these. I do not need 2 copies of this book, so I am getting rid of this one. The next one I'm getting rid of is The Montag Monster by Hunter Shea. I did read this one. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. Nothing fantastic. I'm pretty sure I didn't like the ending of it. It was okay. It was a nice little monster read, but nothing too special. The next one is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, and I have read The Exorcist. I loved it, but I have 2 copies of it, so I'm just getting rid of this one. The next one I'm getting rid of is Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie, and I did start this one, and I understood what was going on. I just didn't think I was going to be into it for the entire book. I wasn't super interested in it. I have no qualms about DNFing books. If I'm not feeling something, I'm going to put it down, and I'm probably not going to pick it back up. So I'm just going to go on and get rid of this one. The next one I read the next one I'm getting rid of is The Revenant by Michael Punk. I was super excited to read this one because the movie had come out, and I heard that the bear mauling scene was just so grisly and graphic and horrible, and I knew it was about a revenge story, and I was so excited, and I read it, and I was so bored. Like, literally after the bear attack, I was so bored. I guess this is spoilers, but like, he didn't get his revenge. He didn't get his revenge on the people he wanted to. I was really annoyed with that, so no. The next one I am unhauling is Perfect Days by Rafael Montes. I think I picked this one up at Barnes & Noble because it was on sale. This has been on my shelf for a really long time. I just decided I'm probably never going to get to it. But if you have read it and you think it's really good and that I might enjoy it, let me know and I will give it a go. The next one I'm getting rid of is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I read this last month and I did a review on it. I did not like this. I think I gave it 2 stars. I felt like it could have been condensed down, edited down a lot better, a lot more, and I just wasn't really interested in it. I had to force myself to finish it, so I'm getting rid of that one. I have another one by Joe Hill, Horns. I did read this one. I think I gave it 3 stars, 3.5 stars maybe. I just wasn't wild about it. I really liked the heart-shaped box by him, and I read this one right after, and it didn't really hold up to the same standards I had for heart-shaped box. This was definitely okay and definitely worth the read, but I don't think I need to keep it. The next one I am unhauling is Now Youre One of Us by Asa Nonami. And I think I DNF'd this one as well. I have a really big issue when I start to feel like books are getting repetitive. Like, something weird happens, she gets really sketched out, the family somehow convinces her it's fine and nothing sketchy is going on, and I just felt like that was happening over and over again. I read a little bit of the back, and I looked up some spoilers, and the ending was pretty weird. Probably not something I would have been super into, especially if I had spent all the time finishing it. So I'm glad I DNF'd that one, and I'll be getting rid of it. The next two that I'm unhauling actually make me sad, but I just know I'm not going to read these. So I read Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, and I loved it. I thought Annihilation was amazing. I thought it was super weird and creepy, and I was totally into it. The next one that in that series, in the Southern Reach trilogy, is Authority, and I think I got like 60 pages into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, why is this so slow? Why is this nothing like the other one? I couldn't do it. And I've had both of these, Authority and Acceptance, on my shelf for years, and I have just accepted that I am not going to finish it. I'm going to let Annihilation be a standalone in my mind, and I'm going to let these two go. The next one that I'm getting rid of is Mind of Winter by Laura Kosicki. And I actually did enjoy this. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 stars. It was really good. It definitely had a twist that I did not see coming at the end, and I really enjoyed it. However, I don't see myself rereading this one, and it didn't pack enough punch for me to want to keep on my shelf. So I'm just going to pass this one on to someone who wants to read it. The next one I'm getting rid of is It by Stephen King, and not because I didn't like it or anything was wrong with it. I actually absolutely loved it. But I do have a first edition copy up on my next shelf that's out of frame right now. So I don't really need the movie themed front cover. So I figured I can let that one go as well. That saves me a ton of space on my shelf. So that is huge. The next one I'm getting rid of is Broken Angels by Richard K. Morgan. I read the first book, Altered Carbon, and I loved it, and I watched the TV show, and I loved the TV show, and then I started this one, and I felt like it was way slower, and not as interesting of a story. It was the ending was actually pretty good. I did enjoy the ending, but the first 2/3 of it I wasn't super into, which was disappointing because I loved the first one, but I'm getting rid of that one. And I never read the third one of that series either. The next one that I'm getting rid of is The Tommyknockers by Stephen King. I started this and I DNF'd it literally at like 10% because in the 10% that I did read, she was talking about how sad she was about her old dog dying, and then about how she was having an abnormally heavy period a lot, and like neither of those things bother me terribly, but the first 10% of the book was pretty much those two things. And I was just not interested. And I feel like the beginning part of the book should, reel me in, make me want to keep going, figure out what's going on. This wasn't doing it for me. All right, my next 3 are going to be super controversial. I am unhauling to someone who will appreciate them more than me. Horror Store, My Best Friend's Exorcism, and We Sold Our Souls, all by Grady Hendrix. I read Horror Store, and I absolutely loved it. Well, I think I gave it a 3.5 or 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It was definitely creepier than I kind of anticipated it being. So I liked it. And after that, I picked up My Best Friend's Exorcism, literally because of that cover. That's amazing. I love that it's like an old VHS cassette, a VHS tape box, which is super cool. However, I have tried to read this book like definitely 2 times, and I'm wanting to say even 3 times. And I just can't get past like the first 20%-ish. And I know that it probably gets better. People rave about this book constantly and rave about Grady Hendrix constantly on BookTube. And I want to like it so much and I want to get into it. And I just couldn't. And I've tried several times. So I think I'm giving up, and I'm not going to do it anymore. And along with that, I had also kind of hype bought We Sold Our Souls. Super cool cover, interesting premise. But since Horror Store didn't like blow me away, and since I couldn't get through My Best Friend's Exorcism, I was just not really sold on reading this one. But awesome edges. Love the colored edges of the books. So yeah, I know that's super unpopular, but I'm just gonna let someone who appreciates these more than I do read those. And then my last one is actually like my most recent read, and that's The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. And this was like just a 3-star for me. I was actually disappointed because I thought it was going to be a 5-star because I love caving movies or books, like anything that it's going to make me feel claustrophobic. I didn't feel claustrophobic in this, unfortunately. I wasn't ever scared. And oh boy, did it get repetitive. I do not like repetitive books. Very, very repetitive. Not so much that I lost interest because I did finish it, but holy moly, repetition. There's also like a weird, kind of romantic interest type of thing in here, and it didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand why these two people were falling for each other. It just didn't make sense to me because, I don't know, they should have hated each other and not in a enemies to lovers type of deal, which is what I guess it was going for. It just didn't work for me. All right, so that was the last book that I am unhauling. How many is that? So that's 33 that I'm getting rid of. I did take out Swan Song because I was looking at it and thinking about it. I'm like, meh, I could give this one another go. For sure. I probably just read it at a weird time. It was literally right when lockdown started. So I was probably just not in the mood. So 31 books that I'm getting rid of. If you guys have seen or read any of these and you are just like, how are you getting rid of that? I can't believe it. That's amazing. You need to give it another go. Let me know. I'll give it another try. I'm pretty open like for that type of thing. But yeah, I'm about to go take them to a thrift store or something so someone can get them for cheap and will appreciate them more than I do. So let me know what you think about this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.